Peace. What's happening, good people? This gift here for Payusnomind, and let's talk about generating $1,000 a month in Spotify royalties. What would it take? So let's imagine you have 5,000 monthly listeners. With 5,000 monthly listeners, it would take 44 streams per listener each month, which breaks down to about 11 streams per listener each week, which breaks down to about 1.5 streams per listener each day. Now that, to some people, might seem like a lot. But consider this. The average American spends over 2 hours per day streaming music. When you isolate music fans, that number shoots up to almost 5 hours per day. So it's more than possible to get one person to stream your song multiple times per day. What it requires is breaking into the feedback loops of each listener. So what's the feedback loop? Let's talk about it. The more a user streams a song or songs from a particular artist, the more they'll have that song and songs from that artist fed back to them. And we call that the feedback loop. So the challenge artists face when it comes to making a living off Spotify is breaking into that loop. So let's talk about breaking the loop and walk through the steps. A user streams a song. That song gets added to their preferences. If the user streams the song multiple times, the user's preference for the song is deepened. Now, when the song is established as a song that the user prefers, the song gets recommended and prioritized in playlists that are served up to the listener. That results in the listener streaming a song more often, which results in a song being recommended and prioritized more often, which results in the user streaming a song more often, which results in the song being recommended and prioritized more often, and around we go. And that is the feedback loop. That's what you're trying to break into. Now you have the routine rotation. So to explain that, humans are creatures of habit. We all have a routine, and our routines have a soundtrack. Our morning shower, our commute, work, dinner, romantic time, all have soundtracks. Every day, people hear the same songs multiple times and multiple songs by the same artist through what I like to call the routine rotation. My Like Songs playlist is the soundtrack to my routine. It is a master list of all the songs I like. I shower to it, I work to it, I run errands to it. It's not crazy to say it's the soundtrack to my life. I have 170 songs on that playlist, but I might spend no more than an hour streaming music during each activity. That makes out to about 20 songs a session. When I hit the shuffle button on that playlist, what decides which one of those 170 songs gets one of those 20 slots? It's the feedback loop. Now, I can add a song to my library. I can playlist the song. I can follow an artist's account, all of those things. But if the song doesn't break my feedback loop, it won't make my rotation. With at least 4 opportunities to get daily streams from me as a listener, an artist outside my loop might get 1 or none. So I've created the ladders method, which is a system that utilizes the mechanics of lead generation to build and retain an audience. Brand awareness gets reinforced to pre-existing listeners, driving repeat streams and breaking feedback loops. And the result is an increase in the activity from the routine rotation that can lead to the generation of $1,000 in royalties. Now, let's talk about the ladders method. The ladders method puts a music-focused spin on a fundamental marketing approach. You got lead generation. And lead generation is a process where you have cold leads, warm leads, and hot leads. Now, specifying it for music, a cold lead could be someone who is a user of a streaming platform or listens to radio or something to that effect. It's somebody who is in the market for music, but they may not be aware of your music. They don't know that your music exists. They don't know that you exist as an artist. You got warm leads. Warm leads are people within that space, within Spotify, within radio, that are music fans and have some level of awareness of you and your music. They have been exposed to your music on social media or something to that effect. Now, they might not have any affection for it or any opinion on it at all, but they've been exposed. They are aware of the fact that it exists. Then you got hot leads. And hot leads we could classify as people who like your music, people who have heard it on Instagram, saw a music video at some point, and they enjoyed it. So those are the people who are going to be most responsive if they ever hear that you have a new song or if they get any information about a song that they've heard and liked. Now, I could take data from a few campaigns that I ran and show you the difference between the cost when you are targeting the different levels of leads. Advertising the cold leads, it cost us 95 cents per visit to Spotify, which totaled about $950 to get 1,000 listeners. Now, advertising the warm leads, which is our engaged audience, the people who have heard the song, it cost us 40 cents per person that we drove to Spotify. And with that, we ended up spending $400 per 1,000 listeners we drove to Spotify. Now, advertising to hot leads, which were people who had already clicked to go to Spotify in the past from a previous song that we advertised, which we can call our converted audience, it cost us 3 cents to drive someone to Spotify to stream a new song. And that ended up costing us $30 to drive 1,000 listeners to Spotify. So by advertising the hot leads, a number of things happen. 1, we dramatically lower our costs. 2, we get the same listeners streaming our songs multiple times. 3, we break into their feedback loops. And 4, we crack their routine rotations. And here's what that means for us. 1,000 listeners times 40 streams per month equals 40,000 streams. And that earns us $180. So if we're advertising one song, we get $180 a month from $30 that we spent to advertise the song. And that is a one-time cost of $30. So let's say we advertise 2 songs. That would be 80,000 streams, earning us $360. 3 songs, 120,000 streams, earning us $540. So again, we earn $180 per month per song we push through the system at a one-time cost of $30 for each song. Now, we're not here to blow smoke up anybody's bunghole. We are here to showcase a better pathway to artists generating sustainable income from streaming. Not so much just reaching 1 million streams one time, but sustainable activity that generates sustainable income that they can rely on. So when we break it down and we're looking at it and we're saying, what is the total cost of building out the system and getting to a point where you have 1,000 listeners to continuously feed and drive more streams of your pre-existing songs that they've heard already, as well as new songs. The cost of building an audience of 1,000 hot leads would range from about $700 to $900. So that would be your initial cost, your initial setup cost. And once you have that audience of hot leads, it'll cost you $30, maybe slightly more, to drive 1,000 listeners to stream each song you advertise. If you'd like to learn more about the methodology, you can visit payusnomind.info/ladders or hit the link in the description box on YouTube or the bio link on Instagram. As always, y'all can hit me up at Payusnomind on Instagram, at Payusnomind on Twitter, payusnomind@gmail.com. This is Gift signing off. Pay us no mind. Peace, good people. One.